Coming up on the October 21st edition of Sports Extra, it all came down to the fourth quarter. We look at the upset that almost was and the NFL careers that could be.
You've probably seen this guy behind the bench at men's basketball games. So what does it take to be a student manager at UNC? We'll show you why it's a lot harder than you'd think.
And this UNC team celebrated its seniors with how many goals? One of the team's standout players will join us live. All that and more. Sports Extra starts right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
Even during fall break, the Tar Heels don't take it easy. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Paige Comparato.
And I'm Georgia Walker. Not everybody left campus for fall break. In fact, a good chunk of the student body stuck around for Zero Dark Thursday. What a crazy night for the UNC football team. Although it ended with a Tar Heel loss, it might have been one of the most exciting nights in Carolina football history. Even though it was fall break, the student body showed up and it got pretty crazy. Keenan was definitely blacked out and hyped up. The atmosphere was electric and it helped out the Heels big time on defense, with the crowd noise leading to confusion and 4 turnovers for Miami. Even after the loss, head coach Larry Fedora made sure to stop at the tunnel and thank the Tar Pit faithful for all of their support.
Thursday, the crowd with Keenan was full of students and fans, and the press box was full of NFL scouts. How many? Well, that's this week's hidden stat. There were 37 credentials for the game handed out to NFL scouts. There were also as many as 5 NFL general managers in attendance. Playing a top team will do that for you, although the Heels have some possible early round draft picks of their own in players like senior defensive end Kareem Martin and senior offensive tackle James Hurst.
Those scouts might have been in town to watch junior tight end Eric Ebron, and for good reason. He's our player of the week. Ebron went beast mode on Thursday with 8 catches for nearly 200 yards and 1 touchdown. He was doing everything. Tight spaces in the seam? Check. Taking a screen 71 yards to the house? Check. Who needs 2 hands? Not Eric Ebron. This one-handed snag landed him on SportsCenter's top 10 plays of the night. Let's watch that again. Ebron, however, wasn't satisfied with the outcome.
You know, I still feel like I could have did something better. I let them down, you know, and we should have had to win. We could have had to win, but we didn't.
In the ongoing UNC
Sports Extra football analyst Luis Fernandez joins us now. Thursday was one of the most disappointing losses in UNC football history. Luis, explain the emotions running through the team and the crowd that night.
Thanks, Paige. You know, it was really a roller coaster ride of emotions for the team and for the crowd. The Heels looked good for much of the game. They grabbed the lead in the second quarter and didn't give it up, at least until 16 seconds left. The defense probably played its best game all season. They had a bend but don't break mentality, holding Miami's offense to field goals in the red zone. Plus, they had a plethora of turnovers, 4 to be exact. They were interceptions from quarterback Stephen Morris. Walk-on freshman quarterback Dominique Green had a great night, recording 2 of the 4 interceptions, and senior defensive lineman Kareem Martin has taken notice.
From day one or so, you know, I've always thought he was a great player. You know, back in spring, you know, he was out there making plays in practice. You know, guys were talking about him in the locker room. You know, this kid is pretty good. You know, I don't even see him as a freshman. You know.
Unfortunately, UNC's inability to stop the run resurfaced as the Heels gave up 234 yards rushing, mostly to back up running back Dallas Crawford. Miami had 53 yards rushing on the final drive, including this 3-yard scamper by Crawford that sealed the game. Offensively, there were a few inconsistencies, aside from Eric Ebron, of course. The offense had to settle for field goals along the red zone. They ended up kicking 4 the entire game, and one of them was blocked and returned for a touchdown. Both Marquise Williams and Brent Renner had costly interceptions in the red zone as well. Speaking of Marquise Williams, he had a rotation going with Brent Renner for much of the game, and it provided a spark to the offense in the running game and in the passing game. Another player that provided the spark for the offense was freshman running back TJ Logan. He finally looked back to football shape and ready to go. He was providing an explosiveness to the offense that we haven't really seen from the running game most of the year. Prior to Miami's game-winning drive, the Heels had to punt after an odd series of plays. On 3rd and 1, Carolina had a delay of game followed by a false start. There was an offensive substitution, and the referees didn't allow UNC to attempt a snap until there was 2 seconds left on the play clock. Both Coach Fedora and Brent Renner commented about the series after the game.
That they need to give them 3 seconds to have the opportunity to substitute. I thought there was a lot more than 3 seconds on the clock.
No, you know, I think they called a great game all game and really don't want to comment about it.
That was definitely a turning point. The Heels are now 1-5. Do you think they'll make it 2-5 this weekend?
Well, I definitely think that they can beat Boston College this weekend. It won't be an easy win, but going into Sunday morning, Carolina should be 2-5.
Thanks, Lewis. Lots of people hope you're right.
In the ongoing UNC football scandal, Georgia realtor Patrick Jones has now made his first court appearance in Orange County. So how is Jones connected to the case, and what does this indictment mean? Carly Swanson explains.
No comment at this time.
Georgia realtor Patrick Jones rushed out of the courtroom in Hillsborough after he was charged with 1-count athlete agent inducement.
Nobody wants agents to think that their state is a safe place to do this kind of activity.
The indictment states Jones illegally tried to induce defensive end Robert Quinn to sign with Georgia sports agent Terry Watson. Sports radio host and attorney David Glenn says North Carolina is really the first state to crack down on agents illegally trying to sign college athletes.
The NCAA does not have the ability to penalize the sports agents who are giving these college athletes gifts and money. So that's where the states come in.
Jones is the third person to be indicted in the case. His arrest is the third in what are expected to be 5 related to an investigation by the Secretary of State's office. He's currently out on a $20,000 bond and faces up to a year behind bars. Glenn doesn't think the case will result in jail time for Jones.
But if we did that to everybody who violated every rule, we'd run out of prison space even more quickly than we already do.
In addition to Jones, Watson was charged with 13 counts of athlete agent inducement and 1 count of obstruction of justice. And former UNC tutor Jennifer Wiley Thompson was also indicted on 4 counts of inducing. In Hillsborough, I'm Carly Swanson.
Again, we expect 2 more people to be indicted in the coming days or weeks. There are a lot of changes in the leadership of the women's basketball team this season. Women's head basketball coach Sylvia Hatchell is battling cancer. Joining us now, our coach Andrew Calder, who will be taking on head court responsibilities, and Coach Ivory Latta, a former UNC player. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, Coach Calder, the first question is for you. You've taken on a large role since Coach Hatchell announced that she'll be temporarily stepping down. What does this mean for you, and how are you handling the new position?
Well, nothing's going to change. Each year, Coach Hatchell evaluates the talent, and with her philosophy, puts together a master game plan. We're just implementing that game plan. Nothing's going to change. We're going to play Carolina basketball. We're going to play hard, play smart, play together. We're going to defend, rebound, compete, play with enthusiasm, and it's going to be fun.
That's great. And Coach Calder, you of course coached Ivory when she was a player here. Ivory, what's it like being back here, not as a player, but as a coach?
Oh, it's great. It's a great feeling. I'm blessed to be back. I'm happy that Coach Hatchell gave me this opportunity to come back and, be assistant coach, but also help the girls that's here. And, with my knowledge of the game of basketball and being in the WNBA, I can also share some light with them and the things that actually Coach Hatchell has taught me. So I know what she expects, and I know what she likes, so I'm going to try to do it to the best of my ability.
That's great. Now, last year, the team's style was described as Carolina fast. What's the team like this year, and which players can we expect big things from?
Oh, man, yeah, we're still going to play that fast-paced game, regardless of, any situation, and that's the way Coach Hatchell wants us to play it. We're going to go out there, like you said, we're going to defend, we're going to have a good time, we're going to have fun doing it, and, we got great freshmen, Diamond DeShield, Jessica Washington, Stephanie Mavonga and other great players. So you just expect for us to be an exciting team, and, we're going to get that spunk back in our game and go out there and have fun.
That's great. Well, this season marks the 20th anniversary of the 1994 National Championship. Do you think this year's team is going to be able to put another banner in the Carmichael Arena?
Well, we're sure hoping so. They have an opportunity to be really, really good by the end of the year. Each day we're just concentrating on giving our best and looking to get better. So it's going to get better every day, and they have a great chance. We're talented. We have a great chance to be really good at the end of the year.
Fantastic. Well, you can always see the women's team this Friday at Late Night with Roy. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we there yet? Basketball season is just days away, and we preview the Tar Heel season next on Sports Extra.
Connect with us online by liking the Sports Extra Facebook page and following us on Twitter @SportsExtra_UNC.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
I don't know what's happening. Start a new chat. What did I do? Okay. Wow. That is so weird.
Hey! Hi!
Oh my gosh. Hi! God, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm so nervous. Gia, you're so big. Come closer to the camera. Wait, now you're in my face. That was so good.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Last year, the North Carolina men's basketball team ended its season in the Sweet 16.
This year, the Tar Heel fans hope for a little bit better, but is that realistic? Ashani Edwards reports.
It was a big team that became a small team. With shooting guards Reggie Bullock and P.J. Hairston, UNC found success in the backcourt. But even then, Coach Roy Williams said something was missing.
Our toughness is getting better, and that's probably not the right word. I'll still go back to the phrase, a sense of urgency of everything that we're doing is the way we've got to play every game.
So is that sense of urgency still there? With returning leaders in junior forward James Michael McAdoo and sophomore point guard Marcus Page, it could be.
I think me and James Michael are pretty solidified as the guys that people look to as leaders. And, we probably will be through the whole year. And then obviously when PJ comes back and earns that role back and kind of proves to us that he's ready to be a leader.
Leading scorer P.J. Hairston will be absent on the court because of his offseason troubles. Without Hairston, McAdoo, as the second leading scorer, will need to be a more reliable contributor.
I just try to go into the gym each and every day and try to get better. I think that's definitely something I worked on a lot this summer, was just my individual skill work. And, having gone through last year in that leadership position, I know what's going to be expected of me this year.
Sophomore forward J.P. Takoto is expected to play a greater role. However, it's unclear how the team's lineup will affect that role this season.
I like big lineups, rebounding-wise and length-wise. When we go small like last year we did, it created a lot of havoc for other teams.
Sophomores Desmond Hubert, Joel James, and Bryce Johnson return, and 3 promising freshmen come in: Nate Britt, Kennedy Meeks, and Isaiah Hicks. When Hairston does return, the Tar Heels can play bigger, resulting in a team that could be much better than last season's squad. With this amount of talent on the roster, UNC could be back near the top of the ACC again this year. Reporting in Chapel Hill, I'm Ishani Edwards.
UNC is projected to finish third in the conference, according to the 2013 preseason media poll. Carolina is expected to finish behind Duke and ACC newcomer Syracuse in the conference standings. The Heels received just one of the 54 first-place votes and aren't projected to have a player on the all-conference team.
Well, we've heard what the media think, but what about the guys watching the games looking for fresh talent? NBA consultant Chris Xtra joins us now to talk about his expectations for the basketball team this season. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris.
Thank you.
So Roy has said that only 2 players, Marcus Page and James Michael McAdoo, are set for starting positions this year. So what can we expect to see out of those players?
Well, I think that with McAdoo, the expectations were probably too high last year, and this year they're probably not high enough. I think he learned a lot from last season, and I think he is going to play more out on the court, facing the basket, and I think that he knows what his role is going to be this year. Last year he was feeling his way. This year he knows what to expect.
Right, and so who else should fans keep an eye out for?
Well, Marcus Page should, I think, be greatly improved. He came in last year, he was very light, he got beat up by a lot of the bigger guards, and I think this year he understands his quickness is going to be his ticket, and also he's more confident with his shot. To begin last season, he couldn't make a shot, frankly, and this year I think the confidence that he has with his improvement on his shooting should carry him a long way.
Right, and UNC has actually taken a real hit from the NBA draft in the last few years. First John Henson, we had Kendall Marshall, Harrison Barnes, all leave for the draft in 2012, and then Reggie Bullock last year with the Clippers. So who should we put on NBA draft lookout?
I think that with McAdoo, it depends on what kind of a season he has. If he has a great year, then I think you're looking at a chance that he would come out after this season. But then again, people thought he was coming out last season, and that didn't turn out to be the case. I don't think there's anybody else on this team, frankly, who the Carolina fans have to worry about coming out early, because I don't think any of the rest of them are ready.
Well, thank you so much. That was Chris Xtra with his thoughts about the Carolina men's basketball team. We enjoy having you here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Both the men's and women's soccer teams smashed Syracuse this weekend, taking 2 victories.
The Tar Heels had a brutal message for the new conference opponent. Welcome to the ACC.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Daddy, I'm gonna find you. It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Michael Adams? Here. Michael Adams? Here. Michael Adams.
Here! Michael Adams.
Students who miss 18 days of school in any grade risk falling behind and not graduating. Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today.
The men's soccer team took on Syracuse this weekend, looking for its second win in ACC play as the teams faced off for the first time in program history. The Heels struck first in the 37th minute as Cooper Vandermoss-Peeler took a pass from Verneri Valima and tucked it into the right corner for his first goal of the season. Keeper Brendan Moore got whistled for a handball in the 59th minute for grabbing a ball just outside the box, but he made a diving save on the resulting Syracuse free kick. The game was physical on both sides as the teams combined for 19 fouls and a pair of yellow cards. The Heels hold on for the 1-0 win. Head coach Carlos Samano says he expects the team to continue improving as the season progresses.
I can, without a question, say that we've grown significantly this year, and we're a much better team now than we were a week ago and 2 weeks ago, and certainly a much better team than we were a month ago.
The men's team takes a break from in-conference play this week. The Heels face in-state opponent UNCW tomorrow at 7 at Fetzer Field.
But before the Syracuse men's team even faced UNC, the Syracuse women's team came to town. The women's soccer team wasn't very welcoming to that ACC newcomer team either. The Tar Heels scored in the 8th minute with a free kick by Summer Green. The rest of the game didn't follow that success, though. The team launched shot after shot after shot. But none of the Heels' 22 attempts found the back of the net. The team's 1-0 victory was truly a defensive win. Syracuse had 0 shots on goal. This is UNC's 9th shutout of the season. UNC's leading scorer, Crystal Dunn, was able to play only 58 minutes because she was resting up for the national team. Coach Anson Dorrance commented on this.
ACC is a tough conference. I would much rather win games and not score a lot than score a lot and lose games. So I think the formula we have, even though it's not a perfect one, is certainly a good one.
Sunday was different for Carolina. The Tar Heels faced the #1 ranked Virginia Cavaliers. Virginia set the tone early with this goal from just 5 yards out. The Heels only had 3 shots during the game, which is the fewest Tar Heel attempts ever taken. UNC was beat to the ball all over the field. Second half was the same story. In the final minutes, UNC pushed players forward in an attempt to muster a tie. During the formation change, Virginia scored on a breakaway. Cavaliers trumped the Heels 2-0.
The field hockey team secured its 11th win of the season against 7th-ranked Boston College Saturday. The 3rd-ranked Tar Heels got off to a great start in the first half, scoring 3 penalty goals off penalty corners. BC found its groove early in the second half, scoring twice to cut the Carolina lead to 1. Boston College turned up the heat on the Heels by pulling the goalie, but it was the Carolina defense that held off the Eagles. Casey DiNardo added a pair of goals late in the second half, and the Heels won 5-2. Coach Karen Shelton said her team responded well to the Boston College pressure.
It's good for us to be stressed. So the game, we came out to a big lead. We were stressed in the central part of the game, and then we came away with it. So handling Boston College pulling the goalkeeper was another important thing for our team. And I think that teaches us, how to handle that.
The Tar Heels returned to the field Sunday to take on Davidson for Senior Day. Carolina built an enormous lead with 5 goals in the first half. The Heels dominated the second half, too, fading another 5 goals and shutting out Davidson 10-0. Sophomore Casey DiNardo netted a hat trick, scoring all 3 goals within a 2-minute span, giving her 5 goals on the weekend. 5 goals for DiNardo, that's a pretty good weekend. Reporter Delia D'Ambra joins us now from Henry Stadium with the sophomore forward.
Thanks, Georgia. I'm here right now with Casey talking about her tremendous weekend. Now, Casey, tell me a little bit about how you mentally prepared going into those back-to-back games over the weekend.
Yeah, going into back-to-back games is always difficult, but I just try to tell myself that every game is important and take it day by day. And what I try to do is not hold anything back in the first game or maybe just save it for the second game, because each game is important to capitalize on the opportunities and win as a team and just get better and better.
Now, really capping off that Davidson win, you had to have Senior Day after that. Tell me how it's been playing with some of those seniors and what you've learned from them.
The seniors are really special this year. We have 5, and one senior I really look up to is Sinead Lager, and she's our Irish player. And she plays forward and mid, and I've just watched her over the years because she's closest to my position. She's grown so much speed-wise, and she's also just taught me that I can do anything I want to if I put my mind to it, and it's great playing with them.
Now, this team in field hockey has been to the national championship before. How do you think this year you guys are really hoping to get back there?
Yeah, we're always hoping to get back to the Final Four, the national championship. This year we're trying not to focus on it too much because we take each game day by day, but we would love to get back there and, come home with a ring.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Casey. And you guys can catch Casey and the rest of the Tar Heel field hockey team coming on Wednesday night right here at Henry Stadium at 6 o'clock against Longwood. Georgia, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Delia. That's Delia D'Ambra live at Henry Stadium.
Let's take a look at what some other Tar Heel teams were up to this weekend. The volleyball team found success in Virginia, sweeping UVA Friday night and coming back from a 2-1 deficit to beat Virginia Tech Saturday. The team's now 18-1. The women's cross-country team finished 29th in the Wisconsin Adidas Invitational, and the men came in 11th. The men and women's swimming and diving teams defeated TCU Saturday afternoon, and later the women took 4th at the SMU Classic. Front row seats to sporting events, traveling with teams, championship rings. There's got to be a catch, right?
We tell who has one of the coolest and toughest jobs on campus, next on Sports Extra.
Don't forget to tune in to our sister shows, Carolina Week at 5 p.m. every Wednesday, on Time Warner 24 or Campus Channel 34, and Carolina Connection at 8:30 every Saturday morning on WCHL 97.9 FM.
I see it!
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Adopting a new pet is a rewarding experience. And Shelter Pets makes super pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. You can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a Shelter Pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
There is no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size.
We know what you told us.
There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat. Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
If I got to go to college, oh my goodness. I like discovering new things. You get to see what works for you and what doesn't. That helps you evolve as a person. You get to make like a supernova of skill or talent or whatever it is. I've always wanted to go to college. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
All Carolina athletic squads are made of more than just players. Delia D'Ambra shows us the importance of the team behind the team.
They're all across campus, students just like us, but with some of the most important roles in UNC athletics. Senior Levi Curls has called Kenan Stadium his office for 3 years.
When I came on my freshman year, they realized there were going to be a few managers short and they had to hire some people, so he asked me and I was like, sure, I'll do it.
Senior Richie Lagrada walks the halls of the Dean Smith Center 7 days a week during men's basketball season, a job you don't get without putting in the work.
Basically, you work summer camp, Roy Williams basketball camp over the summer. If you do a good job at that, they'll ask you to be a JV manager. If you do a good job at that, it's a little more competitive, they'll ask you to be a varsity manager.
And after earning your spot as a manager, there's just one important rule to remember.
Just do what you're told. Maybe go the extra step, the extra mile, doing something without them being asked. That always goes a long way to trying to impress the coaches to be a varsity manager.
Between practices, workouts, and games, it can be hard to find a way to balance it all.
For myself, I know that I can't go home. Like, I leave here after practice, I gotta go straight to the library because if I go home, I'm just gonna end up relaxing.
Women's basketball manager Carmen Wood knows the sacrifices all managers have to make.
It's about blocking off like the things you really don't need to do, like the things you want to do. Sometimes you just have to give it up for practice.
Giving things up has its benefits though, both socially.
We kind of end up just being like brothers, all of us, and then we end up being really good friends with the players too.
And professionally.
That's a network that I have later on in life. If I need like an interview or just want them to talk about something, or if I need help, like I can go to them for that.
Each manager has different responsibilities, but the basic job description is the same.
It's tough to say that what we do exactly, but when it doesn't get done, that's when you know what we do.
And they all hope not to reach that point. Reporting in Chapel Hill, I'm Delia D'Ambra.
If a team wins championship rings, so do the managers. Not too shabby, right, Paige?
I agree, Georgia. Last year, I was standing in the front row of the risers for a basketball game, and Roy was throwing out T-shirts, and his ring came off of his finger and threw it in the crowd. And we bent down and looked at that ring, and there's a beautiful blue stone in the middle there. So any one of those managers would be lucky to get one of those rings for their hard work.
That is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That's something I do not let come off my finger. I would super glue that to my finger.
Well, he let it out to us, and we kind of wanted to grab it, but then he brought it back. He's like, you can't have that.
You grab it, and you take it. All right, well, that does it for this edition of Sports Extra. Thanks for watching.
Have a great night.